Like if you're a tryhard, you're a loser. You cannot be afraid of failure. The harder you work now, the more freedom you're gonna have later on. Why be normal when you can be great?
All right guys, what's up? I'm here with Osmond right here. This is gonna be the start of a new series where I'll be interviewing various entrepreneurs and just getting a little bit of insight on what it is to be an entrepreneur. Osmond, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm privileged to be here, Brayden. You know, we talked a little bit ago, and you had some questions about some things that I think you've taken and hopefully had some success with. But I've seen your recent increase in your Instagram followers from the post you did, and I was really impressed because you're just real. So nice work on that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. So I know obviously a little bit about you, but they all don't know anything.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Osmond Seangsuwan. I'm a serial entrepreneur. That used to be a bad word back in the day. Now it's just something that someone embraces and that has ideas. And I've always thought about the question, you know, what about this? And making it happen. And that's kind of what an entrepreneur does, is they take some ideas that they're really passionate about, that they believe in, they bring it to fruition. And that's kind of what I've done with some of the businesses that I've had. Most importantly, it's about having the right people around you, people that are better than you, smarter than you, that understand things that you can learn from. And for the past 5-6 years, we've kind of formulated our businesses and our processes around finding the right people and making sure that whatever ideas we have, how can we make it happen? That's me kind of in a nutshell, but also at the same time trying to have as much fun as possible.
I like that a lot. So I just barely, from what I was hearing, you give a lot of you credit to networking and people that you've met. Is that what I was hearing, correct?
Yeah, 100%. It's all about the people around you.
So to people who may not have any network whatsoever, what would be your advice to someone on maybe beginning a network of people around them to where they can grow?
So my first thought is, everyone that is maybe you would think is successful right now, they've been in your shoes. And the only way that they can share what experiences they've had is by talking to people that want to learn. In fact, in my humble opinion, I think that entrepreneurs or successful individuals that have quote unquote made it, they want to share whatever knowledge that they have, whatever experiences they have. And so I would encourage anyone that you say don't have that network, they don't know where to begin, to just ask anyone. Don't be afraid. You watch those YouTube videos that people, hey, what do you do? That's basically it. Everyone is willing to share what they've done, the experience that they've had, even introduce you to people. Because if you can find someone that is passionate, they're hungry, they want to work hard, that actually brings a smile to people that went through all that, because they care about the next generation. And if they're true leadership, their goal is to build future leaders. You know, that's really the only way that you can create your legacy, in my opinion, is if you can create a multiplication of leaders. They can then work hard, figure things out, be successful. You hope that they're also doing the same thing, that they're also helping future leaders. So don't be scared. Always ask the right questions. They're going to be happy because they've been in your shoes before.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, man. When did you decide that entrepreneurship is kind of the path that you wanted to take?
Funny story is I actually wanted to be a doctor when I was your age.
Serious?
Yeah, so I had got home from a service mission and I knew that I wanted to be a doctor, but I just loved business. So I went to the University of Utah. I started taking all my generals, got into all my pre-med classes. And if you know anything about pre-med, they're mostly sciences. I did love math. I did love some of the biosciences. I didn't really like chemistry, but I also loved business. And during that time, there was something that was going on that schools had to meet a quota for their schools, for graduate schools, and also for medical school. And I never wanted to just meet a quota. I wanted to earn it. And so I knew that doctors at the time weren't very good at business. Yeah. It was like, you're either going to be a doctor or you're going to do something with business. But I love business. And so I thought that'd be an opportunity to be different. And so I actually had a major in business with pre-med. You know, most people, they graduate with like 120 credits or something like that. And I think I ended up with 172 because I went a totally different path, because I just wanted to be different. And so at that time in my life, I fell in love with business. My wife, she had gotten accepted into nursing school to Westminster College. And I didn't even know what that college was, but it was just down the street from the U. I was done with all my pre-med. I still had some business classes to take. And I was working for JP Chase at the time. I think I was 22 years old, 23 years old. And I knew that I was about to graduate, but I looked into that school and I saw that they had a really good business school. So I actually went and transferred the rest of my schooling over to Westminster.
Series.
And because it was a top-notch school. The U is very research-oriented. A lot of professors come in there and they just want to write a book and kind of where they earn their keep. Whereas a lot of the teachers or professors at Westminster were different. They wanted to make sure that they were teaching leadership, future entrepreneurs. They were making sure that the students had a real knowledge and experience that they could apply right away. And so their whole program was built around bringing in CEOs. I mean, I had a class that we had the CEO of Walmart and McDonald's and these other businesses come in and actually speak. So I loved that school. At the time, she had gotten into her senior year and we had our first child. I was already graduated. Fortunately, I was working for a company that was helping pay tuition. And so I decided that I was also going to go get my MBA and look even more different. And by that time, I thought, by the time I applied for medical school, that I was going to be invincible. Like there's no way that I couldn't get into any school that I wanted to. And so I started my MBA, and I had a friend at the time that was also doing his MBA, and we had an opportunity to come up with an idea to start a business. And it was 2004, 2005, when it was way back in the day. I don't know if you guys were even born yet, but door-to-door sales was starting to pick up. It was kind of the beginning of door-to-door sales, that they're becoming successful. And we decided to start a company based around door-to-door sales for home service products like TV services. So we would recruit other college kids, say, hey, this is an opportunity to go leave for the summer. We'd go into high-priced cable companies and we'd switch them over to Dish Network and DirecTV and those type of companies. And we just had a lot of success. And before you knew it, I finished my MBA. I started a company in 2005, so I was 25 years old. We were having a lot of success. And I then knew that I wasn't going to be a doctor anymore.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I tell people you can go into debt multiple ways. You can either go to medical school or you can start a company. But we were having a lot of success with that company. It was called Latitude Marketing Group, and we did a lot of fun things. And after that, I just knew that entrepreneurship was probably going to be it for the rest of my life.
I like that. I like that a lot. I just heard you mention Latitude Marketing Group. Is that what you said? I've heard that you're starting up something called Latitude Motor Club. Is this true?
Yeah, so if you look at kind of my past history, maybe my LinkedIn, Latitude shows up a lot, and I've always loved that name. Latitude means freedom. Freedom from normal restraints, restrictions, or limitations. And I thought that if we can create a company that is based around freedom, creating freedom for not only ourselves, for our employees, but also for our customers, that was something that we would really be able to focus on and stick true to. And so yeah, Latitude, I started another company. It's called Latitude USA, and the company actually provides medical alert devices for seniors. So our goal is to create freedom with independence. People that normally are at risk of falls, or maybe they're recovering from a procedure as they're aging, they would feel a lot more confident, have more peace of mind, as well as their caretakers, if they had a medical alert device that detects when they fall, detects when they press the button, need help. And our device has the ability to go out and contact emergency services, or even their loved ones or their neighbor automatically if that was to happen. So that company is called Latitude USA, and as you know, I love cars. I've always loved cars. You know, people say, hey, when did you start liking cars? And I said, yo, my first car was a Acura Integra when I was in high school. You know, that's what everyone knew before. And I loved cars, you know, especially JDM. And so I started to get in finally a position where I can start focusing a little bit on myself. And so I started to buy some of the cars I really loved. I remember my CPA saying, hey, Osmond, you really need to do something with cars if you're going to start buying more cars. And that was more so to protect me with you know, taxes and expenses. Yeah. I said, okay. But one thing that I love about cars is if you ever go to a car meet, car show, or wherever there's cars, whether they be classics, exotics, or hypercars, they bring people together. And they bring people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter where they come from. You know, you can get a 16-year-old kid that's working on his BMW 325 to someone that loves Ferraris and Bugattis. And no matter what, you just get everyone that enjoys the beauty of cars, whatever it is. And I just love that aspect of it.
No, I love that too, actually. I mean, because like you're saying, cars doesn't necessarily mean like it has to be a Porsche. I mean, I know you love your Porsches, but they can like bring all sorts of different types of people together. You know, it's more of a community rather than just the object of cars. And
that's it. Well, if whatever car they have, they either, like I said, you could have a kid that's working on a car in their shop, someone that's passionate about whatever they bought. You have a lot of people that love their Miatas, they love their Nissans, and they're working on they're customizing it. They're making their own creation, and whatever it is, they're passionate about it, and I love that. You can go and talk to someone about their car, and they'll just talk forever. So what happened is I said, well, let's just start a motor club, especially up here up north, where we can get people together. And there's a lot of car clubs now opening up all over because because they know it's something that is inclusive, something that brings people together, unites people together, whatever it is. We've been to a lot of car events where there's a bunch of exotics. Those are great cars. We also see a lot of cars that people are working on. We went to an event and we had the whole Miata Club there. They had been working on their cars, and all beautiful cars, and I had my RWB there. There was a few other cars, you know, some Supras, and it just really gets people together, and I just love that aspect about it. And so what we're trying to do is, there's a lot of people that have cars and they have to find places to store them. So we've created a car warehouse. That's going to continue to grow, but we have the ability to store people's cars. We also are working on a cafe, also a restaurant that has a rotating amount of cars inside that people can come and check out while they're eating some good food. The goal is to have memberships where people can go even rent a car lift and start working on their car if they need to. People sometimes need access to a car lift, but they don't want to necessarily go and take it to a mechanic and pay a lot more money. And so there's all sorts of aspects that we are focusing on, but it's for the people to give them something that they need without charging a lot of money. We're going to have a bunch of car events. It's also going to be an event center. So all inclusive. As it stands right now, we've called it the Latitude Motor Club. There's a lot of good things that we're working on. It's going to be a long project, but we know that it's something that people want. And so it is fully based on what people want, what people need, and we're going to try to get it together for them. And it's really all just for fun.
I think that's so cool. Building like a little community around.
That's it. You know,
cars,
there's a few of them around that, you know, that are doing a great job, but there's not enough. And so I think that it's something that people want, and if you build it, they will come for sure.
I like that a lot. On the topic of cars, I don't know if you have an answer to this question, but do you have a favorite car right now?
Man, as you know from my Instagram profile, I love Porsches.
Yeah.
You know, as far as a favorite car, I don't know. I just built a car for SEMA, and whenever I see it, oh, it's so beautiful. It's in California right now, and they're kind of taking around some places, but it's an R32 GTR Skyline with the Liberty Walk kit. It's a super silhouette, so it's built to be a racing car, but it's very beautiful. I don't know if I'm ever going to race it, but when it gets here, it'll probably be a nice car storage that we have with some lights above it. I think that it's going to be a car that people want to see. But there's a few of them now in the US, but whenever I look at that car, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, wait till you guys see it. When you see it, you're not going to know what to do. But we're also working on a few other cars. So I can't say that there's a favorite, but I love Porsche. You know, if you ask my wife, she thinks that this classic right here is her favorite. You know, it's a beautiful car. I'm an RWB guy, and I love wide body kits. And this is the very first 997 RWB that was built in the US. She's working on a new livery for this right now.
Serious?
Yep. I'm excited about that. And then we have a 997 Turbo in Guards Red that will be an RWB soon as well. And my goal is to make that to pay tribute to Nakai and all the work that he's been doing. So I want to build it exactly how he wants it to be built. I had heard that he was going to be building an RWB for him in the US in Guards Red, and so I went and I searched high and low for one so I could hopefully have a twin, and that's something that's in the works, so I can't wait for that to happen. So as far as my favorite, I don't know. I love them all and I share them all, so whatever it feels like driving for the day.
That's fair, man. That was fair. Kind of going back to your social media, because I don't think we mentioned this before, but you have like, what, just short of 90,000 followers?
Yeah, my goal is to hit 100,000 this year, and I don't know what's going to happen because the algorithm changed a little bit. I'm not as tall and good looking as you, so I don't know if mine's going to jump up the way, you know, but goal is just to find, you know, other passionate lovers of Porsches, but we are also changing it a little bit to put out a few more of the classic, throw in some JDM in there, some Euro cars in there, but, you know, it's really just been for fun.
I like that a lot. Going back a little bit to when you were talking about school and how you went to med school and switched over to business, what is one principle that they do not teach you in school that you've learned from business?
A lot that I've learned is actually School of Hard Knocks, to be honest. I went and got my MBA. I'm a black belt in Six Sigma, which is a process improvement methodology. I love process improvement. That is finding gaps in a process, waste in a process, and trying to make it more efficient. But as far as going into business and figuring out, okay, how do we do something? A lot of it is just doing it. In school, they try to make things regimented. You have to do it this way. You have to have all these things in place before you can even start. And I've learned that that's not really necessary, right? If you want to make something happen, the most important thing is just to start. You cannot be afraid of failure. If you're passionate about doing something, you need to go and just do it. But as far as thinking, what is something that they don't teach in school? I don't know. School to me was important. Is it for everyone? I don't think so. I don't think you have to go to school to be successful. Everything has changed. Even going into the medical field, before before there were certain schools you had to go to or else you weren't going to get hired, and I don't even think that's the case anymore. I'm not saying that things are leveling out, in education or anything like that, but I'm saying that depending on what you want to do, what kind of skills and knowledge you want to have, there's multiple ways to go about doing that. But I'm still thinking if there's one thing, mentorship to me is the most important thing that anyone can have. I always say everyone needs a mentor, a life coach, or a therapist, or all three. And I think if you can find yourself a mentor, whether it be, you don't necessarily go and ask for someone to be your mentor. You kind of just ask them questions and, hey, can I call you when I have this question, or if I need help with this? And most people just say, yeah, for sure. But I think doing your best to establish yourself in need of a mentor, meaning you're coachable, you want to learn, you're going to listen to someone's experiences and skills, that is probably something that I wish that I was taught more at a younger age. And so I did have mentors early on, which I'm extremely grateful for. And I wish if I had those mentors earlier on, when I was 21, 22, 23 years old, I'd probably be further ahead, because they literally will teach you things that they've learned. And that's the most valuable thing that anyone can ever do. They'll give you tips on things what not to do that you'll be able to pick up on and make sure. The goal is to never make any mistakes someone has ever made. The experience is there with other people.
Exactly. I mean, if let's say you've made 20 mistakes, that could save someone else 20 of
Exactly.
the same mistakes if you could help them out. And no, kind of going back to what we're talking about, networking, like, do you think most people would be willing to helping out younger generation, or like if someone were to come up to them and ask them for advice, most people would be willing to kind of pitch in and help out?
I can say that 100% without a doubt, that everyone, even if they haven't made it yet in their mind or whatever, they've still worked hard to figure things out. They want to share what they've learned, and that's actually how you become better, is by sharing the things that you've learned. And hopefully that person that is also teaching is also willing to continue to learn, because even with you guys, there's tons of things that I can learn from you guys. And that's always been the mentality that I have, is always be open-minded, always be the student, always be coachable, but also surround yourself around people that you want to learn from, that you want to be like, that you want to hopefully aspire to, I guess. But still have your own dreams, your own goals, work ethic. People look at me and go, oh, you're a workaholic, or you're always constantly working and doing things. I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I still have, in my opinion, a family life, I still get to do some things that I like to do. There's a lot of free time, in my opinion, but maybe that's a superpower that I have, is I make people think that I'm actually working harder than I really am. But I think that if you're hungry now, the harder you work now, the more freedom you're going to have later on. One thing that I want to say, if I'm talking to you guys and the youth, right, the ones that are like 15, 16, 17, is a lot of youth these days, they're taught to not try hard. Like, if you're a try hard, you're a loser. If you're on the basketball team or the soccer team or whatever it is, and you're trying harder in practice than everybody else, for some reason that is frowned on in this day and age. And I've never understood that. Whereas a coach, myself, I've always been, if I can see someone that's trying hard, that's working harder than everybody else, that wants to knock out their competition, dude, I already know that that person is who I'm going to reward. And if that person's strong enough mentally to shut out the crap that people are saying about them, then they're a winner already. And so for some reason, the connotation of trying hard is negative right now, where I would caution everyone and have them think about it being, that's a positive. Be the person that's more vocal. Be the person that goes out of their way to go and talk to their teacher, their coach, to a successful person that they think that they can learn from, and say, hey, can I learn from you? Or what can I do better? Or the first one to practice, the last one to leave. Like, those are all things in my time that were valuable. And I've seen it now. It's like, oh no, you don't want to try hard. You're going to be looked at like da 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 da. I'm like, says who? And it's the peers. Why? Because no one wants them to be better than them. And so they are working very hard to keep them at that level.
Do you think that everyone's cut out for entrepreneurship?
I think there's different levels of entrepreneurship. I don't think that it is for everyone. Everyone has their own values, beliefs, experiences, even traumas. No one is the same. And no one can ever really truly understand what are in people's eyes, what they actually have seen and experienced. And so I don't necessarily want to speak for everyone. I do think that if people have a passion, they have a desire to do something, they have an idea that they have, I do think that everyone should at least try. No one should be afraid of failure. That's the number one thing that stops people, is failure. Maybe laziness as well. But I do think that anyone can be successful and do something. So it's hard because, we can spend a long long time in a segment talking about all the different types of entrepreneurs, the people that you would think that weren't going to accomplish anything, and now they're very successful. I saw that there's a trend right now for plates on exotics and cars where they put their GPA in the back, and it's like 2.1 or 3.2 or one of my friends that's successful, I said, hey, so are you gonna put GED on there, or are you gonna put didn't graduate or something like that? Because anyone can do it. I don't think intellect or schooling has anything to do with it. I know people that are extremely shy that are very successful. I know people that are very antisocial and an introvert that are very successful. I don't ever want to say that it's not for everyone, but I do think that you do need someone to help you along with it. When you look at all the different entrepreneurs, sometimes there's a spokesperson that's going to be there for the person that isn't able to really speak in public. And so there's a lot of good things that people can learn from other people, but the most important thing is have good people around you. Have a good team. Someone's going to believe in you, and they're going to do everything that they can to help you.
I like that a lot. Honestly, I think it just truly shows to go how far networking can go, because we all have different attributes, I mean, some people are more introverted and some people are more extroverted, and we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And I think that's honestly the beauty of networking, is that like you're able to connect with other people and play off each other's strengths, and the more the merrier.
It's unbelievable.
Sum of two is greater than
the sum of its parts, right? I have amazing people around me, and it's crazy because even in the car world I've met new people recently that are very, very close to me now. And you want to find people that are like you, that have the same passions. They still have their different lives. They still do their own different things, and that's great. But if you can find people that are like you in some ways or have a certain vision, grasp onto those people. Like I said, the people that are close to me, there's no way I can do anything. Even the business that I have people that are better than me, that work and understand things, that can do things better than me. But the team that I have, the circle of friends that I have around me are just amazing, and there's no way that I would be able to do anything without them. As of right now, I know that our team's going to be growing. I have a lot of people that are close to me that are helping me with this project. I really can't do anything without them, to be honest. But I have Drew Chen, I have Andy Gion, I have Nate Wheatley, Jason Anderson. I have a lot of people close to me that I can always talk to, bounce things off to. And I have more than that. I have a lot of close friends that have really been by my side, that have helped us do all the things, because it really is a team effort. So I don't want anyone to ever think that it's me. I'm speaking right now, but I would rather have them be up here teaching. They have a lot more experience. They have done way more than I have. I just happen to be homies with you guys, so that you have me on there. But you can't do anything without the right people, with the right team. And I truly know that I put people around me that are way better than me. That I have no ego. Like, I want to be around people that can teach me some things. I want to be always learning. That person that quickly can change their mind and say, oh yeah, you're actually right. Those are people that are going to grow the fastest. So never be closed-minded.
I like that. I like being willing to be wrong, understanding that
it's okay.
You don't always know everything, and that you can benefit from other people's information too.
There are some things that you will have experience with because you've been there, and work on that. But if you're in an environment where you can learn, take advantage of that learning and then apply. It's all about applying. The other thing is a supportive, significant other. It's probably something that is not said enough. If you don't have someone that, whether it be a spouse, girlfriend, boy, whatever it is, if you have someone that's close to you and they're supportive of you, they're going to deal with all the ups and downs. They're going to continue to bring you up. They're going to tell you how great you are. They're going to tell you, hey, don't worry about this, or someone to be very intimately and comfortable with just telling the things you don't tell anyone else. That is something that is very important. To me, it's not fun doing it alone.
I feel like in today's culture, I see it a lot on Instagram, and I see it a lot all over the media. There's kind of like this lone wolf, like do it alone type agenda going out, where everyone's just thinking like, oh, you want to go alone, take the lonely route to the top. And I completely agree with everything that you just said. I think it's quite honestly, it would be miserable to do it like by yourself, so I like everything that you just barely said.
Yeah, it would be very miserable to do it by yourself, especially as you get successful. You want to share it with everyone. I do know I don't know why it is the way that it is, but the more successful you do get, I do know your circle does get smaller, and people just have to experience that on their own. It's not that they don't like people, and it's not like they don't want to share it with other people, but they've realized that they have to also protect themselves, to protect their space, because we all just want positive energy around us. And the people that talk the most are the people that aren't there. It's just one of those things that you will and everyone else will experience, but it goes around the same thing that I said. You want to have the right people around you at all times.
Did you have a lot of people who didn't like believe in you or kind of told you like it wasn't going to work out when you were starting out?
Everyone's going to have that. Starts in grade school, you know, people that don't want you to be successful, or they don't believe in you, or they know that they can't compete with you, so they'd rather just be negative and bring you down so you never get to that point. That's all normal human behavior. But your goal is just to be stronger mentally. A lot of people use that chip on their shoulder to prove people wrong. I mean, there's different levels of motivation that people will grasp onto. So whatever it is, they just use it for good, use it for positive, use it to grow. But ain't nobody got time for negative energy.
All right. And I feel like it's a lot of times this can be hard, but I feel like it's a lot of times the people who are closest to you who will kind of like be your first haters, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, be in the right circle, but you will find who your real friends are as you are working hard and being successful. You'll find it, and you just have to make that decision for yourself, because sometimes the biggest improvement you can make, the most progress you can make, is by way of subtraction. And it's hard, because do you want to lose a friend, or do you want to lose something that is holding you back? You know, sometimes you just have to look at it and be real with yourself. Yeah.
Love it. Appreciate all of your advice. If you were to give one final message to the younger generation, people my age who are aspiring to be successful entrepreneurs and get into that space, what is a final message of advice that you could give?
You know, Michael Jordan, he said it best, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so I encourage every single person to always try. The two things that I will say is no regrets and no excuses. Anyone can be normal. Normal is fine. Everyone else, you know, there's a lot of normal people out here, but why be normal when you can be great? And so just don't give up. Always try. Find the right people that will believe in you and go for it. You know, and that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell. You don't have to be totally successful and to be able to call yourself an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur just has an idea they want to put into fruition. They're putting the work to do it, and that's what it takes. It's just a normal person that just wants to accomplish some things. So I love entrepreneurs. I am okay also with people that want to go work for a company. That's great as well. I found out very young that that's not what I wanted to do. You know, It's been fun. Have there been ups and downs? 100%. Are you going to be successful all the time? Heck no. You're going to fail a lot, and it's going to teach you things. And hopefully you look at that, you have the right support around you, and you say, okay, next time I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and you just keep going. There will always be setbacks. Those are blessings, because that's when you learn. So it's all about outlook, you know, how you look at things, what you want to learn from, how you want to overcome things. That's, like I said, all part of life. So just keep your head up and know, hey, if you hit a bump in the road or something bad happened, you just have to sit back and go, all right, what do I got to learn from this? And I promise you, if you have the right people around you, you'll never be left alone. You'll actually see who your friends are when those times come, which I liked a lot.
Like that. Friend, you got great advice.
Hey, thanks for doing this. I'm excited. You know, I wouldn't call myself, you know, fully successful. There's a lot of people you're going to talk to that have done a lot more, have a lot more gray hairs than me. But that wisdom will help you achieve what you want to achieve, and hopefully it teaches a lot of people that are listening to this segment to continue to learn and to grow and get excited for the next one you do.
It's going to be great.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
you coming
Yes,
out.
of course.